again, we'll start with candidate Swanson. Do you feel that the level of police and fire protection is adequate for Wildemar? And if not, what will you do if elected to improve the level? 2 minutes, please.
I absolutely feel we have the best police department and fire department around. Our chief of police is at every one of our city council meetings. Our fire captain is also there, Captain Beach. Gotta get it straight here. I guess he is our chief. He is at all of our community events. I've had the opportunity, not very fun, to have to call the fire department in the last 60 days, 3 or 4 times. My mother's been very ill. They were on the spot. You could not believe how fast they were there and how much help they were. They were there yesterday morning, and the only comment I got, they were there right on the spot right away, and the only comment I got was that, gee, could I do anything about paving my mother's road? They just washed the truck. But they were there, they took good care of her. I think we have the best. The fire on the hill over here, they had it under control, they had it out. That was one of the scariest fires I've seen in a long time. And they all work together. If we need more resources, they will come. From Lake Elsinore, from Marietta, from wherever we need them. They will come in and fight the fire. And the same with the police. We may only have 3 cars that are marked and painted here, but they are using other cars too. Again, with my mother at the hospital, one of our police was there. He had someone in tow and handcuffed. Took them in to get medical treatment first and then on to jail. But sometimes that happens, and sometimes that's what it has to do. And I think we live in a very, very safe area. They're out there, they're on the streets every day. Every day I see them out there. I've heard no complaints about either our fire department or police department. And I'm really proud to have them here.
Since I've lived here, that was always a running joke in our town. The sheriff's department would never show up. But since we've been a city, I've got to admit, they've showed up. In fact, they showed up twice at my house one night because we had a terrible thunderstorm and it knocked out the 911 system, and they thought I kept calling. So of course they came and investigated us and walked through my whole house and wanted to see everybody that was still alive. So, and that happened 3 times in the same night. And it had nothing to do with us. It was the little box out in front of the property. We do have the coverage. I've seen it in action, and I know how far away these guys are, so I know that they're here. The fire department, I can't say much about that because it's just around the corner from my house, so it's kind of perfect for us. I haven't had to use that yet, hopefully never. But they have been adequate. I haven't seen any problem with that. The only thing that I'm concerned with is what it's going to cost us. I mean, we want to keep what we have because it really is good. We don't need a lot of sheriffs here because there's not that many of us, and we don't need a whole lot of extra fire departments because there's so many around the area. But that's going to be one of the biggest issues, is how to keep that cost under control and keep those guys here and happy and working for us.
First, I want to say that the people, the police and the fire department, are good people, and they're dedicated. But I think we have to separate that from whether we have adequate coverage. I think that we have a really good plan in place, a reciprocal plan with the other cities and with CAL FIRE, and that the fire people have been doing an outstanding job of keeping us secure and whatnot. But when it comes to the sheriff, the police, we have cut the numbers to the bone. And we've done that because of money. And I think that we do need to renegotiate those contracts as soon as possible. And we need to plan long-term on increasing the number of police. That is not to say that these people aren't doing an outstanding job with the resources that they have, but we need more resources, both manpower and resources to back up the police. And I think that that's very important. So again, it comes down to financial planning and to long-term planning to make certain that we have adequate resources as we invite people into the city to do commercial and residential development.
I think the level of services is fine. In fact, when we first incorporated and we had complaints to many police. They were sitting in the subdivisions in tracks and giving people tickets if they did a California roll through the stop sign. It was irking people. I know that I now drive the speed limit everywhere in Wilkemar. And I won't say I never used to, but I never had to worry about it. I worry about it no matter where I am. I see them, every time I go out, I see one going some way or another. The number that's been provided in the past is 1 point something for so many residents. That's an arbitrary number. If you live in LA, that's not high enough. If you live in Wildomar, it's probably too high. I don't, out of a $7-8 million budget, $4 million to police, $3 million to fire, we negotiated to keep costs down. Because of course the police would always like to add more. I mean, that's what they do. Fires, I'm not worried about fire at all. They're always great. They've been doing a great job for years. But costs for the police will continue to go up without adding personnel because the other costs involved are going to go up. So we have to be very careful with that, that we don't cut the personnel. But I think that that's not going to be an issue. Our crime stats are down, and they're down, I think, across the U.S. right now. Maybe it's the economy. I don't know. You think they go up, but that's not something I'm concerned about. I'm only concerned about negotiating the contract and making sure that we live within our means on that.
Well, police and fire touch a little bit to home because my dad's a former CHP commander, and we do have a lot of great personnel out here. I think we could go back to, I've talked to Raleigh residents that do want to see a little more traffic enforcement. They're tired of seeing people rolling those California stops in their own neighborhoods and tired of people speeding through their neighborhoods. So not everybody got the message there. They're still out there doing that. And maybe we could reallocate a little bit of that back to traffic enforcement. But, this really becomes a regional issue with the sheriff and especially with the fire department. We don't control their retirement system or any of that stuff, and that's a county issue. And as a city, we have to make sure the county knows that if there's room to budge there, we want it to come back if that's available. And or if we don't support that, then we don't. But that's something we have to let the county know. As much as we would like to affect our own contract, it's only going to be how many personnel up or down or what other services do we want. But it's not going to be on a regional level anything we can handle here. As far as fire, I had a fire in the back of my house in Oak Circle Drive just last summer, and they are having an amazing response. I was out there with my little water hose, keeping it at bay for the 2 minutes I kept it at bay, and then they kept it at bay for 2 hours. And I think I was going to run out of water. But they really do a great job, and they're amazing how they come in and take over an area and do a wonderful job doing that. I also had the privilege to go out and meet with the fire and police chief on the scene out at last fire and see how they worked and how well they work together. The thing is, they get together when they're in a command, it's a joint command, and they do a great job together. And I'd love to see for them to have some sort of a joint command vehicle someday like other big cities, but that's definitely a big thing down the road and a long ways off for Wildomar here. Nice to see in the region, huh?
Okay. I have seen the response times reported by the fire department. They come to the city council meetings, and those fire department response times are within, very reasonable limits. So I think they're doing a fantastic job. We did cut 2 police traffic cops, as was told, and I think that might have been premature. We should have actually seen the complaints coming were from people who were receiving tickets. So I think there should have maybe been a report done prior to cutting those services for traffic. And traffic cop could have been put somewhere else, graffiti, gang. I think a report should have done prior to just cutting them. That's how we did save on our budget to come within our budget means, and next time I hope we do a report, so we can definitely have confidence standing behind that and say, we've done this because, and we can stand behind it. So,
Thank you.